Tonight, as the world slows down, let us journey together into the calm, powerful world of ideas. Gently and with care, I will tell you a story that changed how we think about money, trust, and the way we move value through time and space. Chapter 1. Before Bitcoin, a world bound by trust. Once upon a time, long before anyone whispered the name Bitcoin, the internet was alive and growing. We could talk, share, learn, and laugh across oceans. But despite all this progress, money remained trapped in the past. Whenever someone bought something online, their money had to pass through a chain of institutions, banks, payment gateways, credit card companies. Each of them acted like a chaperone, ensuring the money arrived safely. But these middlemen didn't work for free. They charged fees. Sometimes they delayed transactions. Worse still, they could reverse them, freeze them, or deny them. This system created friction. It made small transactions impractical. It made trust expensive. It made freedom conditional. This model also had global consequences. In parts of the world, people couldn't even access these financial institutions. Their creativity, productivity, and value were locked away, simply because they were born outside the financial grid. We needed a new path, not just for convenience, but for freedom. Then came a quiet voice from the shadows. A name, Satoshi Nakamoto. A paper, Bitcoin. A peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Chapter 2. The dream of digital cash. Satoshi had a radical idea. What if we could send money online just like we send an email? Imagine two people sitting on opposite sides of the planet. They don't know each other. They've never met. Yet they want to exchange value. Today, they'd need a bank in the middle. But Satoshi asked, why not cut out the middle? This is where the idea of digital cash comes in. Think of a physical coin. When you hand it to someone, it's theirs. You can't spend it again. No middleman verifies it. No banker watches. No delay. No identity check. Satoshi wanted to create that same experience on the internet, but in digital form. He realized that the key wasn't trust. It was cryptographic proof. With cryptographic signatures, ownership can be proven mathematically. A coin could be passed from one owner to the next with a signature. No one else can forge it. But this alone wasn't enough. It didn't prevent one big problem: double spending. What if someone copies a digital coin and spends it twice? That's not possible with physical coins. But digitally, anything can be copied. That's where Satoshi made his breakthrough. Chapter 3. The Double Spend Dilemma and the Ledger that Solves It. To solve double spending, Satoshi proposed something new, a public ledger that everyone could see. Let's imagine a giant book, one that's open to anyone, anywhere. In this book, every transaction is written in ink. Once it's written, it cannot be erased or altered. This ledger is not kept in a single bank or vault. It's copied across thousands of computers. Every time a transaction happens, it's broadcasted to the whole network. Everyone sees it. Everyone agrees on the order. And how do they agree? That's where time and proof of work come in. Satoshi introduced the idea of a timestamp server, a way to fix each transaction in time by creating a block of data, sealing it with a fingerprint called a hash, and linking it to the block before it. This chain of blocks became the blockchain. Every new block reinforces the truth of the past. To change history, one would have to rewrite every block after it and outpace the rest of the network. In doing so, Satoshi didn't just solve double spending. He created a new kind of time, a time woven into math, verified by machines, and visible to all. The impact? No more relying on centralized servers or governments to tell us what's true. We now had a shared truth, protected by energy and consensus. Chapter 4. Proof of Work, the Gatekeeper of Honesty. Let me explain this proof of work. Think of it like a puzzle. Every 10 minutes, miners around the world compete to solve this puzzle. The first one to find the answer gets to add a block to the chain. The answer is hard to find, but easy to verify. Why is this important? Because it forces effort. You can't cheat it. You can't guess it quickly. You have to try over and over until luck and computation align. This process ties Bitcoin to the real world, electricity, hardware, and time. And because it's expensive to do, nobody wants to waste that effort adding a bad transaction. If you try to cheat, others will reject your block, and you'll lose the reward. This is how Bitcoin builds honesty into its core. More than that, this is how Bitcoin protects itself from attack. As long as honest miners control most of the computing power, attackers will always fall behind. The impact? It creates a system that can survive in hostile environments, a system that doesn't need a police force because cheating is simply not profitable. It made a new kind of economic game where truth wins by design. Chapter 5. The Decentralized Orchestra. So how does it all play out in the real world? You send a Bitcoin transaction, it's broadcast to the network, miners gather it, along with others, into a block. They begin solving the proof of work puzzle. The winner broadcasts the solution. Everyone checks it. If valid, they add the block and move on. If two miners find a solution at nearly the same time, a temporary fork occurs. But the chain with the most work wins. The other is discarded. This constant dance of agreement is called consensus. The power? It's not in any single node. It's in the agreement of the majority. And anyone can join. Anyone can leave. The network doesn't break. It waits. Like a living organism, Bitcoin breathes, grows, and heals itself. In a world full of systems that collapse when a central point fails, Bitcoin showed us what resilience looks like. Chapter 6. Incentives and the Art of Honest Participation. You might ask, why would anyone spend energy and electricity to run this system? The answer is incentives. Each time a miner successfully adds a block to the chain, they're rewarded with a special prize, newly created bitcoins. This is how new bitcoins come into the world, like miners discovering gold, but instead of shovels, they use computers. This reward is called the block subsidy, and over time, it decreases. When Bitcoin began, miners earned 50 bitcoins per block, but roughly every 4 years, the reward is cut in half. This halving continues until the maximum supply of 21 million bitcoins is reached. But that's not all. Transactions inside the block may include small fees paid by users to be processed faster. These transaction fees become another incentive. Together, block rewards and fees form the economic fuel that keeps miners honest and motivated. The beauty of this system? It creates a powerful alignment. Honest behavior is profitable. Cheating is costly. In a world where so many systems rely on punishment, Bitcoin chooses incentive. It rewards truth with wealth and punishes fraud with failure. This fundamental shift has inspired new ways to design systems, not with fear, but with aligned interests. Chapter 7. Cleaning the Ledger, Reclaiming Disk Space. As time passes, the blockchain grows. Every 10 minutes, a new block joins the chain. That means thousands of transactions, written in ink, sealed in blocks, accumulate day after day, year after year. Naturally, you might wonder, will it become too heavy to carry? Will the system drown in its own history? Satoshi had a solution. It's called pruning. Imagine a library. Over time it fills with books, but some books are no longer referenced. Their stories have ended. Their value lies in the lessons they left behind, not in the dust they collect. Bitcoin handles this with something called a Merkle tree, a clever structure where transactions are hashed and layered like the roots and branches of a tree. The beauty? You don't need to store the entire tree, just its root. The truth of the whole remains verifiable by a single fingerprint. With this, Bitcoin can safely discard old transaction details that are already buried deep under many new blocks, keeping only the essential markers. This keeps the blockchain lean and efficient. The impact? Lighter nodes, faster performance, sustainable long-term growth. Even as the world continues to transact and trade, Bitcoin ensures its memory stays clear, precise, and purposeful. It's like a wise elder who remembers only what matters. Chapter 8. Light on the Chain. Simplified Payment Verification. Let us imagine someone who wants to use Bitcoin, not to mine, not to build blocks, but simply to receive or send a few coins. Must they carry the weight of the whole chain? Must they store every transaction ever made? Thankfully, no. Satoshi designed something called Simplified Payment Verification, or SPV. It's like checking the weather by looking out the window rather than reading every climate report ever written. SPV allows a user's wallet to verify that a transaction exists in the blockchain by checking only a few key details, block headers and Merkle branches. Instead of carrying the whole tree, it touches the leaves and feels the truth through the roots. This way, users can trust that a transaction is real without running a full node. They rely on honest nodes to feed them block headers and paths that connect their transaction to the chain. The benefits are enormous. Mobile wallets can function quickly. Light clients can verify payments with minimal data. More people can use Bitcoin, even on limited devices. But there's a trade-off. SPV users trust the network a bit more. If an attacker controls what they see, they might be deceived. Yet in practice, honest nodes outnumber attackers, and alerts can warn of foul play. This makes SPV a practical middle ground. It opens the door for mass adoption, where everyone, regardless of their hardware, can join the story. And in a world where not everyone owns a fortress of servers, Bitcoin still makes room at the table. Chapter 9. Slices and Bundles, Combining and Splitting Value. Let's imagine you have a handful of coins in your pocket, some small, some large. You want to buy something, but the price is precise. How do you pay exactly the right amount? Bitcoin handles this elegantly. Transactions in Bitcoin can contain multiple inputs and multiple outputs. That means you can combine several smaller pieces into one larger payment, or split one larger coin into several pieces. For example, if you want to pay 0.015 Bitcoin but only have two coins, one worth 0.01 Bitcoin and one worth 0.01 Bitcoin, you can combine them to make the payment. Any leftover amount can be sent back to yourself as change, just like when you pay with cash and get coins back in your wallet. Likewise, if you receive a large coin worth 1 Bitcoin and only want to spend a fraction, your transaction can send 0.015 Bitcoin to the seller and the remaining 0.985 Bitcoin back to you. This flexibility is built into the protocol and makes Bitcoin more efficient than traditional systems where funds are often locked into fixed units. There's another benefit: privacy through fragmentation. While it's not perfect, using different addresses and splitting amounts can help obscure patterns, making it harder to trace behavior on the network. It's not anonymity, but it's a kind of soft veil. Bitcoin doesn't demand that you move value in whole chunks. It lets you express value exactly, no more, no less. It's like counting grains of digital gold and being able to spend just the right amount. This detail, so simple yet so elegant, is what makes Bitcoin truly usable as money. And with it, the system breathes with greater precision, like a machine tuned for human use. Chapter 10. Privacy in Plain Sight, a different kind of confidentiality. In the traditional world of banks, privacy means secrets. Your transaction details are guarded by institutions. Only you, the bank, and perhaps a government agency know what happened. But in Bitcoin, everything is visible. Every transaction is written on the blockchain, open for all to see. At first glance, this might seem like the end of privacy. But Satoshi saw a different path: pseudonymity. In Bitcoin, users aren't identified by names or account numbers. They are known only by public keys, long strings of letters and numbers. You could make a new one for every transaction if you wanted. That means even though people see the flow of money, they don't necessarily know who's behind it. It's like watching shadows move on a wall. You see motion, but not the face behind it. Still, there are trade-offs. If someone links a public key to your identity, even once, they may be able to follow your financial footprints backward and forward. That's why best practices recommend using a new key pair for each transaction and avoiding patterns that could betray your identity. The goal of Bitcoin's privacy model is not perfect invisibility, but unlinkability, the ability to make it difficult for observers to connect dots. And just like cash, Bitcoin gives power back to the individual. It lets you choose how much you reveal. It places the responsibility of privacy in your own hands. This form of privacy isn't absolute, but it's revolutionary in a digital world where most financial systems demand identification, surveillance, and oversight. Bitcoin whispers a quiet idea: you can be free even in the open. Chapter 11. The Race Against Dishonesty. Can Bitcoin be attacked? Imagine an attacker, clever, determined, and equipped with a powerful computer farm. He wants to trick the network. Maybe he wants to double spend a coin or rewrite history. Could he succeed? Let's examine the odds. In Bitcoin, the longest chain of blocks is considered the truth. To change the past, an attacker must create a longer chain than the honest network. But each block requires solving a proof-of-work puzzle. That means computation, time, energy. If the attacker controls less than 50% of the network's power, he's racing uphill. He might get lucky once, maybe twice, but the odds decrease exponentially with every block. This race is like flipping coins. Each time, the attacker hopes to catch up. But as the honest chain grows, his chances fade. The probability of success becomes vanishingly small. Bitcoin's whitepaper even provides math to describe this. It's a form of a gambler's ruin problem. The deeper the attacker falls behind, the harder it becomes to catch up. So, can Bitcoin be attacked? Yes, but only under extreme, unlikely conditions. The attacker must control more computational power than the rest of the network. He must sustain that power. He must be willing to lose money, energy, and reputation in the attempt. Even then, he can't create coins out of thin air. He can't steal other people's money. He can only try to reverse his own recent payments. In short, cheating is possible, but not worth it. And that's the genius. Bitcoin doesn't make fraud impossible. It makes it unprofitable. It invites the would-be attacker to join the honest path instead. Because in this system, honesty isn't just the right thing to do, it's also the winning strategy. Chapter 12. The End of the Beginning, a New Dawn for Money. And so we arrive at the end of our story. But truly, it is only the beginning. Satoshi's vision was never about creating just another payment system. It was about reimagining money itself. In this new world, you don't need to ask permission to participate. You don't need a bank account to hold value. You don't need to trust a company, a government, or even a name. You trust the code, the math, the incentives, and the consensus of people around the world who, together, form a living network of truth. Bitcoin is more than software. It is an idea, a quiet revolution that says, we can build systems that are fair. We can build money that belongs to the people. We can build a future where freedom is programmable. The system is simple at its core, yet infinitely deep. Coins are transferred by digital signatures. Transactions are recorded in blocks. Blocks are chained by proof of work. The chain represents shared history, and every node, every miner, every wallet that participates in this dance adds to the symphony of decentralization. As you rest your mind now, think of this. Right now, even as you breathe, thousands of machines around the world are quietly securing this network, solving puzzles, confirming truths, extending the chain block by block. Bitcoin never sleeps. It's not perfect. It's not complete. But it is alive, evolving with its users, its developers, its dreamers. Maybe you are one of them. So as the stars shine above and your thoughts settle like dust on a quiet shelf, remember this. Truth doesn't need a throne. Freedom doesn't beg for approval. And value, when built on trustless ground, can grow roots deeper than borders. Good night, traveler of the future. Sleep well, with a mind now touched by the story of Bitcoin. The end.